Hello everyone, welcome to Fantastic Solutions. So today we'll be solving one Leetcode medium problem named as subsets 2. So this is an extension of the problems named as subsets. So I would highly recommend you to watch this video as well because we'll be using the similar block of code. So let's read the problem and try to see what we can do here. So it says given an array nums that may contain duplicate. So this is an array of integer, where we can have some duplicates as well. Now it says return all possible subsets, that is the power sets, and it says the solution must not contain the duplicate subsets. And it also has to return the solution in any order, so it should be fine. So that's the word the problem. And now if you just look into the previous problem, that was exactly same, but here we had the unique elements, so that's why we cannot have the duplicate subset as well. So let's quickly see how did we solve this problem, and then how can you utilize a similar problem to solve this one as well. So first go through the video, but I can quickly recap that as well. So let's say if this is a input 1 comma 2 comma 3. So this is the the tree which we can create. So to create a subset, like what we decided, either to include a number or not include in the tree. So if your current index is 1, if you're at this current place, so either we can include this number into this our subset, or we can just ignore whatever we are thinking. So these are the only two options available to us. So if you're including into our subset will contain 1, and then we will be again moving to the next index and continue the same approach. Same approach basically means either include it or not include it, the next number. So just to summarize it, if we are at this particular index, either we can include it in our subset or we can't include it. These are the two decisions we are going to take in this decision tree, and either we can be at this part or a right side part, and wherever we are there, then again we'll be moving to the next element and follow the same approach which we did for the previous number. So that means either include this number into this our subset or exclude it. Similarly, now here we have the subset was empty, so either we can include the 2 into our subset or don't include. If follow the same approach till the end of the array, then at the bottom place, like we'll be getting all the subsets, all the unique subsets, because these numbers were the unique, right? So that was the solution. So you can see like what we wrote the problem, like the solution for this. So we created a subset array, and whatever the index we are currently, so in the DFS function we are passing an index. So at whatever the index we are just pushing the data into our subset array. The first decision we can take, either include or exclude. So first is the include. So what we are doing in the subset, we are including the first number, whatever the index we are, and then move ahead with the next number, right? So that was the first decision which we took: include the number in this subset and then move to the next index. So include the number into the subset, move to the next index, and call the same function, like follow the same approach what we are doing. So that was the first thing. In the right subtree, what we are doing, we are excluding it. So to exclude the array from the subset, so since we have already pushed the data into the subset array, we are just removing that from our subset array, so that we don't have this number into this our subset, and then again follow the same function, like call the same function with the DFS. And now when we are at the end, like when we are done with this index, all the indexes. So if our index is greater than equals to nums.length, then in our output array, we are pushing whatever the subset we do have, that we are basically here we are pushing it. But before pushing it, we are making a clone in JavaScript, so that in other iteration this subset array doesn't get impacted. So that was the only reason to do it. Technically in output array, we are pushing whatever the subset we have created, we are just pushing it here. So now let's look into this current set of problem for us, which is basically where we can have some duplicate elements as well, right? So what we can do, let's say if the numbers were sorted, right? If the numbers were sorted, then let us see what's the subset tree basically, or decision tree look like. So either we can include the number into a subset or exclude it, right? Similarly, move ahead to the next element and now include it or exclude it. So here the subset will be 1 comma 2 and 1. So we are good till this part, right? And now just assume like we have many more elements, 3 comma 4, something like that, right? So if you're here, then again the next element is 2. So if you're either we are going to include it or exclude it. So the very first time it says, we just don't need the duplicates. So the very first time we can include it. So if you're going to include it, so this leftmost, what it's going to follow, like we can include this again, the data into this subset array, and that will have the like no duplicates or something like that. But what if we are at this place, right, at 1? So if you see the same block of subset has been created previously as well. So the same block of sense code has been created previously as well. So what will happen? Either I can include the 2 into this or exclude it. So if you see at this path, when we are at the previous step and when including the 2, so whatever this decision tree data we are going to get at the bottom, right? The same will be here as well. So this will be of no use to us, because if you're going to include this block of element again into our subset, then that would be a duplicate data. So now if we are at this decision tree, we just need to ignore the duplicates data. And if you are not including it, then one will be there, right? Similarly, let's say if we are here at this point of time, right? So if you see, this was an empty subset, this was again an empty subset. And here we had added a 2, right? And we got the decision tree or all the elements where, we thought like if in empty subset, if we are going to include 2, then what will have, the final data. Similar block of code, like you can see. So from here till here, right? Let's say others number 3 and 4 are also coming. So this decision tree and this decision tree would be exactly same. This decision tree and this decision tree would be exactly same, right? So again, what do we mean by that? So since we have already read this 2 here in left decision tree, so at this point, when we are empty, if you're going to again include 2, then this will be again of no use to us, because we don't need to return the duplicate, so we can ignore this. And if you are not going to include 2, then we'll be getting this empty array. So yeah, this is how we can do it. So the solution is quite similar and simple as well. Simple, like we just need to sort the data and then follow the same approach. Like if the previous value is exactly same, then into the next time just ignore it before calling the DFS function again. So let's just quickly follow the same approach what we have written for this one, with just a different thing. So very first thing which we need to do is like sort the given input array, because which is not into the sorted format. So we can do nums dot sort a comma b, and then let's sort it. Okay. So till this point we have just sorted the input array, and then now I think since we already have a sorted array, we can call our DFS function here. So let's create 2 variables. One is basically output, which we are going to return at the end of this program, and one would be the subset. So subset which will basically not contain the duplicates. And then let's call the DFS function. So for that function, let's write the DFS function. And we need to pass the index. So since I'm writing this function inside the parent function only, so other access like output and subset, I will have the access. So we can just pass the current index for the recursive call. And here we can pass the first index as a 0. Now the edge or end case scenario would be if index is greater than equals to nums dot length, then we need to push the data into this output array. So output dot push, we basically need to push the subset, right? And what we discuss, like since this is a JavaScript array, so if you're going to change subset array later point of the time, this might go ahead and impact the data. So you can just create like clone the subset array first. And then pass this temp variable here. So that's the only thing like we're doing. And just return it. Now, if that is not the case, then what we are going to do, like when we are at this index, like include this data into our subset, right? So we can just call subset.push the current data, we just included it, and then go ahead and call the same DFS function for the next element. So dfx of index plus 1. Now, in the next iteration, either we include it or exclude it, right? We just need to exclude it. So till how many point, like we can just ignore the elements, like whichever the previous element are exactly same, right? So first let's ignore now the next elements. So while index plus 1 is less than nums dot length, and let's say nums of index plus 1 equals to nums of index. If that's the condition, that means we know the previous value and the current value are exactly same, then increase the index. Index equals to index plus 1. And now after that, since we have already ignored the duplicates, then call the DFS with the next item. So that's it. And then once we are done with the here all the iteration, we just need to return the output array, because output will contain the final data. Now let's try to run this. What it says, we are getting the duplicates here. Why so? Let us see. The very first number, it says nums dot sort a comma b. We are just sorting return a minus b, which is good. Then we're creating an output array, then subset, and then we're calling the DFS with the current index here and returning the output. Now in the DFS, what you're saying, if index is greater than nums dot length, then in temp just call the subset and push the temp data and then return it. Now next time, just include the data subset dot push nums of current index and then dfx of index plus 1, which is fine. And then till the time we have the same elements, just we are increasing the index by index plus 1, then exclude the data, which is basically to exclude the data from subset, we need to remove our element, right? So subset dot pop. This block of code, we missed it, because in the right side we are including, left side we are excluding it, right? Now let's try to run it. Cool, it got accepted. Let's submit it. Yeah, it's got accepted. So that's it for the subset sub problem.